Okay. So yeah, welcome to the webinar. I want to introduce you to our new tool, the PPWR check web tool we just launched a few days ago, and we tested it very much over the last days and already over the last weeks, and now it is really very well, and we didn't find so many bugs. So now they should be all gone. How to easily identify packaging requirements with the PPWR and our tech tool. This is the topic of today. I guess most of you they are quite familiar with the PPWR, but here are a few topics in a nutshell. Packaging waste regulation entered into force 11th of February and applies from 12th of August 26, especially for the hazardous substances like PFAS, lead, cadmium, and also with some other linked regulations also for bisphenol A and other substances. So we have some key requirements for packaging and disposal in all EU member states. So this is harmonized by the PPWR compared to previous regulations in the various countries. So the PPWR, of course, applies to all packaging placed on the EU market. And it's possible that some member states can even issue stricter regulations by national packaging acts, which are stricter than the regulation of the PPWR. This is something where we say it's not enough, or it might not be enough, to only check with the PPWR, but the PPWR is the newest and probably the most complex one. But we will also deliver services later on to check also with other regulation. For those who are not so much familiar with the details, we have in Germany, in the German document, we have more than 120 pages. We have 71 articles. We have 190 positions of the European Parliament they have to check, and we have a growing number of ongoing delegated and implementing acts. And Amanda, we both saw it in Cologne. There are still a few ones coming without timeline. Especially the coordination of the customs and the authorities who checked and found some non-compliant packaging. So this has no deadline, but they will have to find a way how to inform the customs if some packaging has been discovered. So the second time they should be stopped at the customs. We have an increasing requirements for all the packagings. So as said, next year, we will start with the toxic substances. Then we will have in 2030, we will have some standards for recycling, recyclability, reuse, minimization, headspace, and labeling, and communication and reporting. And this will be upscaled over the years from 35 to 40. And we have an increased requirements and quotas over the years. So just to give an overview about the differences of the economic operators, we have the producers of packaging, we have the suppliers of ingredients, for example, we have the brand owners who will then maybe become even importers of semi-finished goods or finished goods, but they can also be, of course, manufacturers. It can be that we have some ingredients delivered to fillers in the name of the brand owners, so they would become to manufacturers in that case. Then we have the distributors. They will probably send it to final distributors, to smaller shops, to HoReCa, or some filling stations and kiosks. And finally, we have the end consumer, which could be a B2B or B2C consumer. And below we see the various kinds of packagings which are mainly concerned, not exclusively, but mainly so from the ingredients to the brand owners. We are talking rather about transport packaging, bulk packaging. Then from the manufacturer or the filler to the warehouses and distributors, we are talking then about sales, packaging, HoReCa, or beverage packaging as well. And further on, this will stay until to the final end consumer. So if we have anything which is secondary packaging or even transported to the end consumer, like an e-commerce, this will also be in transport packaging. And of course, we have lots of beverages in the market. So this gives a short overview about the various operators. Then we said, okay, we don't want to tell you how a motor is built. We want to tell you what you can do with your car. And therefore, this was the idea to say we want to enable you to drive the car. We want to enable you to drive the PPWR. And that's what our PPW check web tool is all about. So then we also said we identified by multiple times reading the PPWR that we defined some categories. And we defined 4 categories of the PPWR, which within the categories, they have all the same requirements. The first is the sales packaging, so the packaging you see on the shelf. The second is the transport packaging, so it's the secondary packaging up to the pallet, to stretch foil, the wrappers, the cardboards, the barrels and IBCs and big bags and whatsoever. Then we have the sales beverage packaging, so everything which is about beverage in all kinds of materials. And finally, we defined one category as the HoReCa packaging, everything which goes into hotel, restaurants, canteens, kiosks, or filling stations, and will be sold or served there to the end users. The second thing is that we discovered that we have to define and identify relevant scenarios. So we have key measures like reuse, recyclability, recycled content, material and disposal labeling, packaging minimization for sales packaging, and headspace for transport packaging. And we have to make sure that we check each scenario for the various packaging types. And there might be more than only one scenario. And we do not only check the various categories only for a packaging type. So we have to check multiple scenarios in many cases. What are the packaging types? So we define packaging types that can be the same for several products. Like here we see the Ben & Jerry's ice cream cups with lids. So it's always the same cup. It's always the same packaging type, but it's used for several variety and flavors or sizes. And when identifying the packaging requirements from the PPWR, it's relevant that we check the packaging type, and we do not need to check the individual product variety. So we don't need to check strawberry from raspberry or from any other flavor. We only need to check the cup or the lid. So, however, we have various packages and prices of the licenses. And if you have the unlimited package, you can even upload each individual variety so that you can probably say, I have all the various packaging articles in my portfolio. I check them all, even if 10 or 20 of them have completely the same scenario and the same results. But this could probably give you the complete product portfolio overview. And the scenario is a specific situation that the packaging fulfills. So packaging type can, as I said, be relevant for several packaging categories. For example, if we have one product sold on the shelf as a sales packaging, let's take a beverage, for example, it could be sold on the supermarket shelf, but it could also be distributed in the HoReCa, for example, in the restaurant or in the catering or the kiosk or the filling station. So you do have 2 different categories maybe, and then you have to check 2 different scenarios for the same packaging type. And so you need to check where your packaging type will be given to the end consumer. and therefore have to define which of the categories is relevant for this packaging type and therefore how many scenarios you need. So let's switch to our tool. And here, by the way, you see our landing page where you have some additional information and the categories, and you can download free roadmap and the various pricing levels you have here and what's coming up next. But we will come back to that again. So if we have the dashboard, and I will log out and then log in again. So when we come in and we logged in, we have a dashboard where we just get a quick overview. What kind of packagings we checked, what were the recent activities. You see here we have checked a total number of 112 different scenarios. And this gives you just a quick overview of what you've already done. You also have the reports in total. So you can go in here and say, okay, what is the impact from 2030? And from 2040, this is the short term where you might secure your business. And 2040 is the long term where you say, okay, I'm safe on a long-term perspective. So would I have to fulfill in 2040, and should I go for 2040 directly? Or do I start with 2030 just to secure my business? You can also check the various parameters, you can edit them, or you can delete an entire packaging check. You can also go in here and say, I want to filter it, for example, only for transport packaging. And then you see all the transport packagings you checked, or you can say, okay, I want to have the main material of transport packaging with plastic. So then you can here see the main materials of plastic for transport packaging and so on. Or you can say, okay, I only want to, I'm looking for everything. No, I'm looking for everything which is probably concerning flour, or I want to check something which is ice cream. So it gives you anything with ice. If I put some juice, is also ice inside, so ice cream, then you have all the products you checked. And then once you did that, you can also go and download all the reports. So everything you entered here will be downloaded in an Excel file, which you could probably enter into your EPR system, ERP system, so SAP and whatsoever. And here, for example, you have all the various components, which you then can also sort and rank. And at the end, you have all the various results coming a bit later, all the various results for 2030, 35, 38, and 40. So this is all the data that you can then handle inside your company, and or you can use an Excel file which you get from us to enter all your parameters you need for the various checks. So if you want to make a PPWR check, first of all, we go in here and then we say, okay, we verify if your enterprise is impacted by the PPWR. So if you say I'm a micro enterprise with less than 10 employees and less than 2 million turnover, and we will add also and not more than 1,000 kilos per state in 1 year of packaging you brought to the market. If that applies, you could say yes. But in that case, you will have the message that the PPWR currently does not impact you, but if you want to grow, then you could probably make it voluntarily and see what you would have to do if it goes over the next years and you become a bigger company. So saying that we are probably not a small one, not a micro enterprise. And then you can also say, okay, I want to deliver something to the same member state. This is also a different scenario, especially when it comes to transport packaging. So let's choose the same member state and do a transport packaging. Then you might say, okay, I have flour here, which is in a big bag, a 500 kilos big bag, for example, and this packaging has my article number, and do the components separate easily during sorting, use, or transport? No, they're all together, so they're not sorting. There's no inner bag or whatsoever. So, and then we can even, do I have the 10 scenarios here? Yes, I have a big bag here. You can even upload a picture of a big bag if you want to have an idea of what you're looking for. Then the question will be, have you achieved the minimization or the headspace of the primary packaging achieved and proven? So for many types in the sales packaging, it's not defined yet. So here you would probably say no, because you don't know yet whether the new requirements will be higher than what you achieved. And we were talking about transport packaging. So here we will have the explanations of the various categories again, just to identify. We have 4 categories, but we divided transport packaging and e-commerce because sometimes they say, e-commerce, is it a transport packaging, or is transport packaging different from e-commerce? So we just checked the two, but they have the same requirements. So we take the transport packaging for this bulk bag, and then we have the question, main material is plastic. Bulk, a big bag usually does not have any PET share, so 0%. The proportion of plastic is probably, besides some woven fibers or whatsoever, maybe not 100%. Sorry, 98.5. And do we have available recyclate without health hazards to food contact? At the moment, I would say no. Maybe PE, we don't have a recyclate for food. So here we put no. And then we go on, and then do we transport hazardous substances? No, we have flour transport within the same company. So the same state, but it's probably just a customer. So no, it's not one of our own companies, the sister companies. Do we have an exception? Do we transport dangerous goods? No, we have no packaging for individual large machine. We have a flexible plastic packaging with food contact, yes. And the last one would be cardboard and paper fiber packaging. So we can choose the flexible plastic packaging with food. And then, of course, we have a food contact. The main material is not PET, and it's a single-use container. And then we go on, and then we immediately get the result for the various years, 2030, 35, 38, and 40. So we have the recyclability, which has to be approved and achieved. We have no requirement for recyclate use because it's food contact, and we don't have a food-approved PE yet. Maybe we have it in the future. We will have to check for PFAS and bisphenol A and things like that, the substances. We have no requirement for reuse, and we have to be aware about aware of the 50% empty headspace ratio, which we will have to achieve. And if we see over the years from 38, we will have to have recyclability of 80%, so this will increase. If we go to the reports, we will then see the bag over here. And so we can also do the next one. We can make a new compliance check, and then probably go no micro enterprise is another member state, and then probably we pick a kind of startup bag for any startup. We have a let's say a flow pack. Then we have an article number, and it does not separate during use or sorting. And we have kind of stand-up pouch somewhere, stand-up pouch. Take this one. Oh, it's a bit, oops, sorry. Just pack it in here, flow pack. Number does not separate. Stand-up pouch, which is a bit small now. The minimization, as I said, we don't know yet, so I'd rather put no. And as we talk about the sales packaging, and maybe the main material, yes, will be plastic. There shouldn't be much PET inside, or let's make a bit of PET, so then we can probably have a recycled use. The proportion of plastic is therefore 100%. The glue and stuff does not count. And as we have a PET inside, we have an available recyclate without health for human health. So for PET, we have that. So is it a bundling? No, it's not a bundling. It's an individual pack. So no, it's no bundling pack. Do we have an exception? Do we have an innovative packaging less than 5 years? No, it's an old standard pouch in the market for 20 years. It's not an in vitro packaging. It's not contact sensitive for small children. It's not for the medical devices and has not a primary packaging for medical products. So we have no exception here. The packaging is on the market for, let's say, more than 10 years. We have a food contact. It is not a protected design of the packaging, so it's just a normal standard pouch, and there is no unprocessed fruit or vegetable under 1.5 kilos. And the main material is not PET, but it is a big part of PET. And then we come up and say, okay, we have a recyclability of 70% again for the plastics, but we also have a recycled plastic content of minimum 10% because we have a food contact on the one hand, but we have a food approved recycled PET available on the market. We have to look for the substances, but we have to reduce the minimum in weight and volume, and we have to wait until this is defined by the EU Commission. And then it will go to 80% recyclability, and in 2040 it will go to 25% of recycled plastic content. So this is the result we get from this PPWR check. And then we will see it here again. This is the packaging we have, and we will also have a quick overview, 70%, 10% recycled. Minimization, we have the hazardous substances to be limited, and then we grow to 80 and 25% here. So this will indicate us where are the necessary improvements we have to do. So this is about the tool, and I just want to give you a quick look into our AI-based, oops, I got fired out. Our AI-based question and answers tool, where we had a couple of chats here, and I just go. And this is something which is not happening on the internet. It's happening on our own server, so nothing goes out from here. So you can ask whatever you want, and the official internet and Google and whatever, they will not learn from what you're looking here. So we have a chat, for example. And then we had a question. You see, this is the German version here. And then we asked, are the import restrictions on packaging and recycled content that will be, are there import restrictions that will have to be followed? For example, can we obtain rPET from outside the EU? Please only rely on the document. And then we asked it, and then we got all the information here with the various articles where the research is referring to. Then I asked him in German, must the used recycled content be from post-consumer recyclate from states of the EU? And then the answer in English was, the provided text does not explicitly state that recycled content must come exclusively from post-consumer recycled material from the EU states. While the regulation emphasizes the importance of using recycled material and sets targets for recycled content, it doesn't specify the geographical origin. So this gives quite a good explanation of what's written. Then I asked him, could you please translate in German? And then he gave me the same answer in German. And how will the correct recyclate be checked? And then I got in German all the answers, how this will be checked and which article refers to. And so now I could go down here and say, okay, I have some Italians here. Please translate to Italian. And then I hope it's not taking too long. But then let's wait and see. Usually it takes a few seconds. It's a bit longer than I expected. Oh, here it is. Okay, so then he can translate to almost every language. I have some chats where I translated to Chinese, but I couldn't verify it. So you can have the same question in Italian. You can also ask the German document in Italian, or you can refer to the Italian document, and then you get all the answers in Italian here. So we can use all the various languages you like, and we can ask the law. And so this will be implemented somewhere around June and July. Okay, so that means that this is for the PPWR, but we also recommend please check also the other national packaging acts. We will definitely upgrade the system and the web tool with further national acts. We will also have some more EU legislation like the Single-Use Plastic Directive or the plastic tax or the deforestation, so you can check for this. And we will also have some more upload possibilities if you want to put your claims or your QR code with the disposal in requirements and your caching QR code for the future. You can upload your conformity report and so on. So this will be a tool where you can handle all your packaging portfolio over the next years, and we will upgrade the tool time by time. What we also tell the people that they should properly check whether all their packaging is perfectly registered. So, for example, also for transport packaging, you have to register your transport packaging almost worldwide in every country. There are a few examples here. We have some Italians. So in Italy, it should only be if there's a subsidiary in the country. And we have a cooperation with the German recycling company, and there's a contact. He is doing the registration and the eco fee for almost every country in the world, and the total company behind it. So we advise to do it because we hear from them that there's always a company where the merchandise is blocked at the customs because it's not registered, and it does not only cost a penalty, but also if someone waits for the ingredients and the aromas and they cannot produce because it's blocked, then you have more than just the penalty fee to pay. This is a roadmap we also give to the companies to say, how can you become PPWR or legal compliant? Because we start with identification of the packaging, then we have the analysis of the PPWR requirements with our check tool. Then we have the analysis of other packaging acts. As I mentioned, we will have a status quo check for the various key figures. Then you can create a heat map saying, okay, where do I have to do some work? Where am I fine, etc. You have to prioritize by volume and or by the heat map and the action plan, or by cost and profit and loss. And then you have to define your own roadmap and your targets, and then finally start with your project team to develop the relevant packaging and also communication and labeling for your packaging. And so this is how we support the companies. This we call them decision trees. Now it's the PPWR check tool. We have a webinar to explain it, what we did a good way by this, but some companies want an individual one when they buy it. We can also do a workshop, which I did this week with a customer only for the transport packaging of suppliers to make sure that they do not come up with lots of varieties of transport packaging, and maybe they can funnel the packaging into various types so they can handle them for reuse. And we can also check for further laws, for national laws or for the EUDR or whatsoever. We can do this in a workshop, and if they like, and we also got requests already for doing the analysis of the portfolio and to find solutions how they could become PPWR compliant. And as I showed you, this is the semi-automated question and answer for relevant laws, which we will build up. Yeah, so this is the website. As you saw, there are more information here. There are some downloads of the roadmap, and the webinar will be linked there as well. And yeah, that's it so far. So if you have anybody who needs some support, they can send us an email or send me an email, or they can go to the landing page and get some further information. And so that's how it works. And yeah, I'm ready for your questions if you have some, so we can go to the questions. So are there any questions? Is that so far clear? Yeah, okay, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. If there aren't any more questions, if you have some, just send us an email or contact me. And Amanda, we will see anyway next in May.
Yes.
And
yes, thanks a lot for this first overview. Very easy. So we will ready with maybe a question for you, but we need to think about what we just listened right now. So yeah. Thanks a lot.
And maybe think about some packagings you want to check, so we can go into
yes,
check
okay, we can test it.
Whether our tool is working fine or not. So it will.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you
again.
Thanks
you.
everybody.
Bye.
I will send you the link to the video anyway, so you can also share it with others. And have a nice weekend and nice afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.